This film offers a completely new interpretation of traditional Chinese martial arts spirit, blending the swift and ruthless martial skills with the characters' destinies and emotions. Although it didn't receive the attention it deserved at the time of its release, it has since become a classic in the hearts of countless movie fans. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend you watch it. It will take you on a journey into a different martial arts world and let you experience the true essence of passionate excitement. The story begins with the notorious bandit Fei Long, a ruthless villain who had terrorized the martial world for 20 years. He was known for his burning, killing, and plundering, and his cruelty struck fear into the hearts of all who heard his name. Fei Long's reputation was nearly unmatched in the world of martial arts, until he met a man named Dingen. Unlike Fei Long, Dingen had only one arm, and by all logic, Fei Long should have been able to easily defeat him. However, Fei Long greatly overestimated his own strength. With just one strike, he quickly realized that Dingen's speed far surpassed his own. The broken blade that Dingen held was once nothing more than a useless weapon, but in his hands, it became as light as a feather, capable of attacking from a distance or defending up close, leaving all who saw it in awe. The past of Dingen was not complicated. He had once worked as a low-level worker at the local forge, Lianfeng Hall, surrounded by muscular men. The only person who had special feelings for him was Linga, the young lady of Lianfeng Hall. At that time, Linga seemed to have a somewhat unpredictable interest in him, even hoping that Dingen and Taichu would fight each other for her, with the winner becoming her Prince Charming. However, neither of the two men fought for her. Instead, they remained focused on their own paths. Soon after, an event changed Dingen's fate. One day, while Dingen and Taichu were shopping at the market, they witnessed a group of hunters bullying a woman. The people on the street were too afraid to intervene, but a monk, undaunted, stood alone and drove the hunters away with a wooden stick. Sadly, this monk was eventually trapped and killed by the hunters. Dingen and Taichu immediately rushed to the rescue, but Dingen tried to dissuade Taichu from losing his temper, warning that if they killed someone in the process, they would be no different from the hunters themselves. However, these hunters would not tolerate anyone interfering. They threatened to eliminate anyone who acted in defense of justice. From that moment on, the fates of Dingen and Taichu became intertwined. Despite Dingen's efforts to stop him, Titu's anger remained unabated. In the end, the leader of Lianfeng sect intervened and punished them for Titu's actions. Dingen couldn't bear to see Taichu punished, so he intervened, only to be forced to kneel as punishment himself. A few days later, Lianfeng sect celebrated the day of knife sacrifice. To everyone's surprise, the sect leader announced his retirement and handed over the position of sect leader to Dingen. This decision shocked everyone, including Dingen himself. Though he refused the responsibility, the sect leader insisted. However, it was this decision that ultimately led to Lianfeng sect's downfall. While sorting through his things, Dingen overheard his grandmother and Linga talking about his father's past. It turned out that Dingen's father had been killed while trying to save the sect leader, and after his death, he was subjected to extremely cruel torture. Furious, Dingen rushed to Linga to ask for more details. Linga told him that his father had once been a swordsman, wielding a blade that weighed over 200 pounds. In the end, he was killed by a tattooed horse thief skilled with throwing knives. That broken sword was the only relic left from Dingen's father. Dingen decided to seek vengeance for his father, but the sect leader was unwilling to reveal any more details and even tried to dissuade him. Though the sect leader's attitude was one of protection, Dingen's anger could not be quelled. Dingen ultimately left the Lianfeng ship with the broken sword, and Linga, regardless of the danger, followed him out. In the wilderness, she was captured by a group of hunters and seriously injured. Upon hearing her cries, Dingen rushed to her aid. Despite giving it his all, he still suffered a crushing defeat when facing professional hunters and even lost one of his arms. Nevertheless, driven by sheer determination, Dingen managed to kill several of his enemies. However, what made him even angrier was that his father's broken sword was taken by the hunters. Ignoring all danger, Dingen rushed towards the cliff, determined to reclaim the relic. At this time, Taichu was going through a turbulent ordeal with Linga. Their relationship had become complicated, while Dingen, with the help of a beggar, barely survived. Although he lost one of his hands, he did not give up. Through relentless practice, Dingen finally mastered a new sword technique and, during a marauder attack, single-handedly defeated nearly 100 enemies. Dingen became famous overnight, and the villagers regarded him as a deity descended from heaven, coming to worship him. However, Dingen remained low-key and quietly left. However, when the bandits learned that their comrade had been killed by Dingen, they decided to summon the legendary flying dragon and bloodily wash the Lianfeng ship to avenge their fallen brother. The fates of Tai Chu and Dingen were once again intertwined. In this process, Dingen not only had to face the flying dragon, but also struggled with the hatred within his own heart. As the flying dragon approached, Dingen finally returned to the Lianfeng ship with his broken sword, ready for a life-or-death battle. Although he had the strength to face numerous foes, in the end, could he avenge his father, or would fate play its cruel tricks on him? This classic Chinese kung fu movie stars Zhao Wenzhuo. Although its box office performance was less than satisfactory, it is still regarded as a masterpiece by many to this day. The fight scenes in the film remain unparalleled, with no other movie able to surpass them. Even after multiple viewings, each time watching the film stirs a surge of excitement in the audience. This movie not only showcases incredible martial arts skills, but also perfectly illustrates the true essence of martial arts. In all martial arts, speed is the ultimate weapon.